Where's President Putin? I asked that question in light of what's been happening over the past week in Iran. I remember when Putin invaded Ukraine, one of the first allies he turned to was Iran. And Iran sent Russia ammunition. And Iran sent Russia...
Hey, patriots. Welcome back to the channel. The home for common sense, America first, no-nonsense truth. If you love freedom, if you love our country, and if you're tired of all the lies and spin from the leftist media, you're in the right place. Today, I want to talk about something the mainstream media refuses to touch. Russia's so-called friendships and alliances. You know, the ones we're always told are unbreakable, that the West should be afraid of. Well, let's break it down.
Mr. President, where is Russia? Where is President Putin? I asked that question in light of what's been happening over the past week in Iran. Where's Russia? Where's President Putin? You couldn't find either one of them with a search party. Dog the bounty hunter all of a sudden couldn't find President Putin. All of a sudden, even Google can't find Russia. I thought Iran and Russia were peeps. I thought they were best friends. I mean, for decades, Iran and Russia have had a partnership where they have attacked everyone in the freedom-loving West. They're best buds. Now, I know Iran has a relationship with China, but that's more transactional. China just likes to buy Iran's cheap oil. With Russia and Iran, it was supposed to be a deeper, more meaningful relationship. And this isn't something new. It's been a partnership for decades. I remember when Putin invaded Ukraine, one of the first allies he turned to was Iran. And Iran sent Russia ammunition. And Iran sent Russia artillery shells. And Iran sent Russia drones. And Iran has sent Russia drones and ammunition and artillery shells every single day of the war. So where's Russia? I mean, it hadn't been a good week for Iran. Where's Russia? On Monday of this week, Iran's top diplomat met with President Putin and asked for help. You know what President Putin said he would provide? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Some kind of friend. And you know, it's not the first time that we've seen President Putin's true colors. It's happened before. You would think that Iran would learn. The month after Iran, through Hamas, attacked Israel back in October of 2023, Iran immediately asked Moscow to supply Iran with, because Iran knew what was coming, and so did Hamas. They knew retribution was coming from Israel. Iran asked Moscow for jet fighters, for attack helicopters, air defense systems, and training jets. And Iran was sure that their buddy Putin would be there. Putin sent them a few jets and said, "Go away, don't bother me." And then, not long ago, when Israel took out the better part of Iran's air defense system, its Golden Dome wasn't exactly golden. It was more like tin. But the Israelis took it out. Iran asked Russia, said, "Look, we have to rearm. We're naked and alone here. We need more air defense missiles to shoot down the Israeli planes." President Putin said, "Go away. Don't bother me." What a friend. President Putin has done it to other countries. Russia has had alliances not just with Iran through the years. I'll give you a couple of examples. Armenia. Armenia and Russia were best buds. Two peas in a pod. But when Armenia got in a war with Azerbaijan, let me say that again. Azerbaijan, once again, you couldn't find Russia with a search party. Iran and Russia worked together to prop up Assad in Syria. Remember that? When the people of Syria were revolting against Assad, who had blood under his fingernails, you know who kept him afloat? Iran, yes, but especially Russia. And then Assad got in trouble. And that's when he really needed Russia. And he went to Mr. Putin and said, "Help me, help me." And Mr. Putin said, "No, you're on your own. You can come to my country where they can't get to you, but that's it. Too bad, I don't need you anymore." I hope a lot's going on with respect to the Middle East right now, but I hope that the world notices what kind of friend Russia is. I hope other countries that Russia has alliances with and that Russia is assiduously courting to be a, quote, partnership, notices how Russia reacts to their friends. Where's Russia? Where's Putin? All of a sudden, you can't find him. Now, I'm delighted with that. I'm just delighted. But this was very, very predictable. With friends like Russia, I say this to every country in the world that might be thinking about partnering with Russia. With friends like Russia, who needs enemies?
So let's set the stage. Iran's been having a rough week. Maybe you saw the news. Normally, when Iran's in trouble, they pick up the phone and call Russia. Because for decades, we've been told Iran and Russia are besties, partners in crime against the free world. And you know what? Just look at the facts. When Putin invaded Ukraine, who did he turn to for drones and artillery? Not the Chinese, not the Europeans. He called Iran. And Iran delivered. Day after day, truckloads of drones, shells, and ammunition pouring into Russia to keep Putin's war machine running. But now that Iran's in real trouble, after all those years of friendship, where's Putin? Where's Russia? You couldn't find them with a search party. Folks, you could send in Dog the Bounty Hunter, and he'd come up empty. Iran's top diplomat showed up in Moscow this week, hat in hand, asking for help. And Putin's answer? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Not a single missile, not a single plane, not even a good luck, buddy. That's what you get for trusting Russia. And it's not the first time. Let's go back just a few months. October 2023. Hamas attacks Israel. Everyone knows Iran was pulling the strings. What did Iran do? They ran straight to Moscow, begging for jet fighters, helicopters, air defense. They knew Israel was coming for them, and they needed backup. And what did their friend Putin give them? A couple of jets, and don't bother me. That's it. Fast forward. Israel takes out Iran's air defenses. Iran is exposed, vulnerable. They beg Russia for more missiles, for help. And Putin's answer? Go away. Not my problem. Some friendship. And it's not just Iran. Look at Armenia. For years, Russia was their big brother, promising protection, partnership. Then, the second Armenia gets in a real fight with Azerbaijan, Russia's nowhere to be found. Total silence. Abandoned. Same playbook in Syria. Iran and Russia propped up Assad for years. But when the chips were down, when Assad really needed Russian muscle, Putin told him, "You can come hide in Russia, but I'm not lifting a finger to save you." This is what Russia does, folks. They use you until you're no longer useful. Then they toss you aside. That's their alliance. That's their friendship. And you know, I have to laugh. For years, we've been told by the globalists and the left that America is the bad guy, that Russia and China are these unstoppable titans, these loyal friends to dictators and thugs everywhere. But when the rubber meets the road, Russia is nowhere to be found. Let's be clear. This is exactly why America is different. When we make an alliance, when we commit to something, we show up. We lead. We don't just make empty promises and disappear. That's what makes America the leader of the free world. That's why people around the globe still look to us for hope and for real support. So, let me speak directly to any country out there thinking about cutting deals with Russia. Look at the record. Look at Iran. Look at Armenia. Look at Assad. When you need Russia most, they're gone. You're on your own, with friends like Russia, who needs enemies. That's the cold, hard truth. As an American patriot, I say good. I'm glad Putin's showing his true colors. I'm glad the world is seeing that Russia is a paper tiger, unreliable and self-serving. Maybe now some of these rogue regimes will think twice before getting in bed with Moscow. Maybe now the world will remember who the real leader is. It's the United States of America. And to my fellow Americans, don't let the media fool you. Russia's alliances are built on sand. Our strength comes from our values, freedom, loyalty, and standing by our friends. That might take, folks. If you agree, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with every American who needs to hear the truth. Drop a comment below. How do you feel about Russia's so-called friendships? Do you trust Putin? Or do you see right through this charade? God bless you. God bless our troops. And God bless the United States of America. Stay strong, stay free.